So let me start off with the properties bit here. So this is the dashboard as you log in. I'm sure you're very familiar with this. And then on the left-hand side here, we have our property page. And as you can see, we've got a multitude of properties here. We've got single units and multi-units and so on. And I think on one of the last sessions, I covered setting up a tenancy agreement and so on, but I didn't actually cover it for an HMO. So I thought I'd just spend a little bit of time on that on the HMO session this morning, and then I'll go into the more general stuff as well. So this will probably take just five minutes or so covering the HMO stuff, and then I can cover the rest of it in here as well. So right at the top of the page here, we've got what I've set it up as Birmingham HMO, and I can see it's a multi-unit, and I can see I've got 4 units in the HMO, and that's telling us 4 of 4 here. I've got 1 lease that is ending in 17 days, and we actually have an overdue payment here. So if I click on this little down arrow, that will give me more information on the tenancy. So I can see here's the one that's overdue. We got an overdue payment here. It's £500 and it's 43 days. You see the little counter there, which tells you how many days it is overdue. Just make this a little bit smaller. There we go. It's a bit easier to read there. Okay, so it's all on one line. So £500 is overdue here. This tenant is paid up. We've got another one which is overdue here of £600. So we've got two of our tenants overdue, which obviously is not good. And we can also see that the tenancy agreement here is ending on the 2nd of November. This is the same for all properties. You see another one here ending in 24 days. But this one, when you click on here, it'll give you the more details of the actual units. Now this one is, when it gets to 60 days or less, you'll start seeing these little warning signs come up here. If it's like just an alert really that the tenancy is ending. Obviously, if you've got a rolling tenancy, then this wouldn't necessarily show up. But on this one, we've got a fixed term, which is ending on the 2nd of November, and that's why it's showing here. And we can also see down the bottom, we have a vacant unit. Okay, so bedroom 4 is vacant. So if I click on, well, I'll go to the HMO to start with. So I'll click on the property page here. And here we have the property page of the Birmingham HMO. I can see I've got the address here. I can see it's a multi-unit. I've also got, it looks like this is a student HMO. We've got 4 units, it's part tenanted because we can see we've got 1 vacant here. You can put in the mortgage details and the purchase information the usual way, just like you can with any of the properties. But the difference here is that we've got the 4 units down the bottom. Okay, we've got 1, 2, 3, which are tenanted, and 1 which is vacant. So I'll show you that in a moment. Now, before I do that, the other thing about an HMO is that as well as being able to put all the details against each particular unit, or in this case, bedroom, you can also log expenses along or anything else along the top here. So for instance, if you have a general expense for the building, let's say it's a new roof or garden maintenance, so it's not specific to any one room, it's just for the whole building, then you can always log the expenses along the top here. You can see you can just click on add expense here in the usual way. You can also do it from the bank accounts, so you can reconcile directly from the bank account. In this one here, you also have because it's an HMO, you've got the drop downs here. So if I was looking for the expenses on the main building, for example, I can click on here. I can see that these have been reconciled from the bank. We've got an attachment here, which is probably a warranty or something like that. Or I can just click on one of the particular rooms. And again, I can see I've got letting fees and property expenses and so on, specific to that room. And then here, you can even break it down to, in terms of your expenses, you can look at everything that's been paid. You can look at overdue expenses if you set them up as a recurring, and you can even look at upcoming expenses. So this one is not due till next year, but it's logged here. It's just an example. You might do it obviously differently, and so on. So I'll just go back to all here, and we've got our expenses. You can see the lease history here. So we've got it. We've got all the different tenants in the property here. Again, you can filter by rooms. So if I just wanted to see the tenant history of room 1, I can do that through the drop down at the top. Same with documents. I think we have, yeah, all the documents going, because this is the documents for the main building. You can also put the documents against the individual rooms as well. And remember also a recent feature we put in probably about 4 or 5 months ago now. If you're looking for a document, we have this little button here, which is a preview button. So one way to do it is you can just, if you wanted to see this particular document, you can download it and open it up. But a really quick way to do it is it's a little preview button. And if you put it on here, there you go. Happy Father's Day. So, so that's obviously just a document we've put in here to show us an example. But whatever document you have, you can click on the preview and you can very easily see your information. Okay, so that's against the main building. Now, if I wanted to add a tenancy or look at, let's look at bedroom 4. I click on bedroom 4 down the bottom, and then it opens up effectively the property page for bedroom 4. So as it's empty, it's telling me here there's no tenancy. It's a vacant property. We don't have a tenant in place. I can add additional images. So if I wanted to put images for that particular room, you can always store images here as well as the main building, which we show on the cover page here. All right, so then you're probably very familiar with this as an existing customer, but if you wanted to add a lease, you just click on the lease here, put in the name of the contact, the tenant. You'll notice that some people say, why do we put this little warning here at the top? And the reason for this is because you don't have to do this, but it just makes the flow a little bit easier. So because we're saying, put in the tenant details before you set up the lease. If you use a letting agent, then it's a good idea to set up the letting agents before as well you set it up. And that just means that when you go to add the primary tenant, you'll already see them in the drop down if you already set them up. If you haven't, you'll just have to click on new tenant, then you set up the tenant, then you come back to this page. So it makes it a little bit easier. And the same with the letting agent. If you use an agent to collect fees, so let's say you use a letting agent for rent collection or managing, then you can put in the amount that the agent deducts. And then again, you could pick the name of the agent here if you've already added them in at the top. Otherwise, you'll have to add that and come back to this page. So that's why we put that little message at the top here. So in the usual way, Andrew Jones, let's put him in from, let's say he started a couple of months ago and he's signed up for a 12-month contract. We'll put him in for £600 a month. You'll be familiar with this as well. We've got every option we could think of here, whether you want to pay monthly, every 2 months, 6 months, 3 months, whatever, or weekly and so on. You can put in, choose your option. We default it to 1 month or monthly if you like, which is what most people have, but we do give you the other options as well. And then follow the usual prompts down the bottom. I'm just going to set this back to no for the moment and so on. And then I'm going to save the tenancy. It's going to ask me if I want to click the outstanding rent as paid. So I'll just click yes. And now if I go back to the rent scheduler, I can see that the tenancy agreement is in place. The first 3 payments have been made. By clicking yes, I've manually told the system those payments are in. Okay, if you want to do it from the bank accounts, you can obviously do that. You can reconcile it from the bank. But for this example, just to show you this, I've put the tenancy in I've reconciled the first 3 payments, and then in the usual way, we can see that these payments are not yet due. And as they come in, we can reconcile it accordingly. Okay, so now if I go back to the property page of the Birmingham HMO, here we have our 4 units. They're all tenanted. I can see the end dates here. I can see the payment dates and so on. And you know, that's completely tenanted property now. And if I go to the rent scheduler here, as I mentioned before, you can see, you can break it down. This one's on bedroom 1, but I can, if I wanted to see all, I can click on here. I can see here we now have 3, 1, and so on. All right, so I had a few questions on that over the last couple of weeks, so I thought I would share that with the group today. I can see we've got more people joining as well. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining. And that was just a quick recap on HMOs and making sure that you've got all your rooms set accordingly. If you've set up a single unit property and you're not seeing these and you're wondering, you set it up as an HMO, but you're wondering why the units aren't appearing, then there's a little button here with 3 dots. And this allows you to do a number of things. One is to edit it. And this is where if you set it up as a single unit property, you can then change it to a multi-unit here, like we've already done here. And then that will give you the option to add in extra units down the bottom. If I've set it up as a multi-unit and I've already added multi-units and I try and set it up as a single unit, it won't let me do that because I've already got 4 units associated with it. But if you wanted to go the other way and you set it up as a single and you want to change it to a multiple, an HMO or multiple rooms, then that's what you do. And then when you want to add in, multiple additional units, click on the Add New Unit button here. Sorry, I'm going to lose my voice today. It's early in the morning. I'm already going to lose my voice. So just click on Add New Unit here, and then you can continue to add as many units as you like against that particular property. And thank you very much for joining. Hope you're getting lots out of the system. Always here to help, and look forward to speaking to you on the next one.